and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's time for Crystal One-on-One, and we are at the Carnival Restaurant in Naguru. That's the gardens, of course. I'm excited about my guest. He's passionate about food. I'm passionate about food, and his passion for food has just spawned a movement, should I say. He's got a restaurant, he's into keto now, but he is a lawyer. And it's funny how food and being a lawyer have somehow worked together for him. The man behind Rogers Bites, I have Rogers Balamaga joining me today. Hello.
Hi, Crystal.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are
Rogers
you?
Bites, Crystal Bites.
I know, right? Oh my God.
And then it's so funny, we met for the first time at the menu tasting at Sheraton.
Yes.
The new menu.
Yeah.
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Did
for
you bring
having
me
me.
something nice to eat?
Something is on the way.
Something is coming. Look
Yes,
at me
I just
already
don't have a
asking.
breakfast menu, but it's something coming.
So you are Rogers, not Roger.
Yes. That's the thing. Everyone. I've actually written a whole blog post about this. I think in 2012. The laziness that people have
The
for
laziness?
pronouncing the S, like even when they know. And the funny thing is, even my own mother who gave me the name is too lazy to pronounce the S, so she just calls me Roger like everyone else.
No.
And then
She
my
knows
wife
she's your
went along.
mother. You have to forgive her.
Yeah, well, I just let it slide.
What about your partner, your wife?
She also calls me Roger. She doesn't call me Rogers, but I don't know. I think I'm used by now. I'm used by now, but I insist still. The name is Rogers.
It's Rogers.
Yes.
Not Roger.
No.
Not like Roger Moore or whoever.
No.
Rogers.
Like all the famous people are called Roger, not Rogers, but this is me.
Okay. Speaking of your blog,
Yeah.
I loved your introduction in your blog.
Mm.
You do lawyerly things between
Yes.
8 and 5, but you do the lawyerly things to be able to pay for the food,
The
which is
things
the
that I
passion.
love.
Is that
Yes.
still the case, or now you've been able
Well,
to?
that was the beginning because you know what they say about about the things that you're passionate about and their laziness when it comes to feeding and sustaining you. Like when you're passionate about something,
Yes,
but
especially in
usually
the beginning.
in the beginnings, yes. Like you're passionate about something, but most cases you find that the things that you're passionate about really don't care about your livelihood. So you need to find something that will bridge that gap and keep feeding you to the point where the things you're passionate about can maybe start to pay their own bills. Like a passion, because many of these passions need to be funded. So they need someone, another a job to bankroll them to the point where they've grown legs that are stable enough to stand and maybe take it up from there. And I think I have, to a great extent, managed to do that.
Yes, I think so
Yes,
too.
because I do much less lawyering now than
You used
cooking.
to. You do more cooking.
Yes, I do more cooking
Isn't
than.
that the dream?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I would be a liar if I say that cooking has always been my dream because I've transitioned through many different things to get to this point. And that said, I'm really grateful that I am here now.
Okay.
To the point that I am living, because at some point, yes, this was a dream. I have other dreams at the moment, but still.
But you're growing this baby like
Yes.
fully, right?
Yeah, right now my dedication is growing this baby to the point where it doesn't need me as much. Then I can focus on other things.
Okay.
But for now, it is what occupies most of my time, and then really much less loyally work.
Okay, so you need to take us back then. You need to tell us your mother who gave you the name Rogers. Where were you born and where did you grow up?
Okay, so I was born in Kayunga district. My mom was working there as a midwife.
Okay.
And so my three of my siblings, apart from my eldest brother. So we were born there. We grew up in the hospital quarters. We went to the schools there. I attended a school called Kayunga Girls Primary School. And people used to tease me about it. Like, what, were you in a girls' school?
Were you the only boy or
No.
there are quite a few of you?
Incidentally, no, because there were just two schools. One was called Kayunga Boys and one was called Kayunga Girls. Then after some time, one of them became mixed and it switched from Kayunga Boys to Kayunga Mixed. Then the other one said, you know what, we shall maintain it. And maybe with the hope that at some point they'll get rid of the girls.
So there was the mixed one, but you still went to Kayunga Girls.
Oh, and the mixed one was nearer to our home. It's just
Okay, why?
across the road.
Why?
Well, the other one just happened to be a better school.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to that from, I think, my P1 up to P5. Then P6, I went to another school still within Kayunga district. Then it was Mukono district called Kauku Boarding Primary School, where I left and went to Mweri, Sugar College Mweri for the whole of my O and A level.
Ah, so you Mweri the whole way through.
Yes, Mweri the whole way through. And then Uganda Christian University for law school, then LDC.
And then LDC.
Then my confusion began from there.
I was about to ask you, when did it start?
Actually, no, my confusion
Because you
began...
said you did this before you even ended up in food.
The thing is, my confusion started way earlier because my mom, like most parents, had her own dreams for her children. She always wanted to have a doctor.
Oh, so she wanted you to be a doctor?
Yes, she wanted me to be a doctor. Just like she did.
Did you want to be a lawyer?
No, I didn't. Just like she did want my eldest brother to be a doctor. He studied clinical medicine. I think he became a clinical officer, and is I think he was practicing for a while before he left for UK.
Okay.
So when that dream did not materialize like she wanted, so she saddled me the responsibility of, now this rests on you. You have to.
She was a midwife after all, right? And
so
you grew up on the hospital
to,
grounds.
Yes. So you have to get there. You have to get to that point that I wanted to get to, but I didn't. Well, she didn't tell me this was, but that's what I deciphered from the whole. So I thought I wanted to be a doctor until I realized I was not, it wasn't really my path. So along the way, then a lot of things happened there in Mweri. I wanted to be so many things. At some point I wanted to be a professional chess player. At some point I wanted to be, I was certain I was called to be a minister for Christ, and I was very certain that was my calling in life.
When was that?
I think it was my Form 5.
Wow.
Yes, at the epitome of my spirituality, I think. And then when that didn't work out as originally thought, then I just sailed through life. Like, finished school, like, what do I do now? What course do I apply for right now? I remember at that time, I think it was 2005. Yes, 2005. IT was still a new course in Makerere. So me and most of my friends were like, we go and do IT. Personally, I kid you not, the drive for me to apply for IT was because it had the word technology, so it sounded really cool.
We don't need to understand these things. It sounds nice.
So I went, I applied for IT. Then I met a friend of mine because I'd also applied. My brother actually asked me, the clinical officer. I was living with him then in Gaba, because the moment I finished, like, I had to find a reason to run away from home. Like, I need to go to Kampala. I need to go to, like, I mean, people used to tell me, like, but when are you ever going to come to Kampala? Even when you finish school, like, you had an opportunity after primary school to cross to Kampala, but you still went to Jinja. When you had a chance to come to Kampala, you still stopped in Mukono. Like, so I had to come to Kampala. So I was living with my brother, and he told me, you know what, why don't you go and apply for it? I'm like, no, I've never thought about being a lawyer. Like, you talk too much. You could, like, I don't know, is that all it takes to be a lawyer? You just need to talk too much. So like, okay, maybe it won't hurt, because it was paying for the whole application and everything. So I was like, okay, I'll just drop the application, but it's not something I want to do. My dream was to go and do information technology. So when and I met a friend, like, oh, by the way, you've been admitted following UCU. Like, okay. Carl, like, you still want to apply? So like, yeah. I'm like, really, you want to ditch law for IT? Like, okay. Let me think about it. So we had a family meeting.
Lot of, okay,
yes.
You had a family meeting.
Yes, about, like, what should you do? What? Like, but I've never thought about doing, like, have you ever thought about doing information technology? Like, it sounds cool. Like, are you sure that's the reason why you want to do it? So I reluctantly took up law, a decision I've never regretted though. So I finished law school, did LDC, but LDC is when I was sure that this is not my path. This is not my path because in spite of everything, I was certain I didn't want to do litigation, especially litigation.
So LDC kind of opened your eyes
yes,
to what
like,
it really was.
This is not my thing. I don't know what my thing is, but I know it's not this.
Okay.
So I finished, I got a job in a firm that was not doing litigation. I was like, oh, thank God. So I was happy. I had time. And then around that time, 2012, that's when I discovered a new passion in writing, something I'd never done before. So I really didn't have much experience apart from the literature I did in senior two, where I dropped it. So I was like, okay. And because I talk too much, it translated into writing, like being wordy. And so I used to write a lot, like Facebook posts and stuff. Then,
So this was just online.
yeah, online really, where I have lived most of my life. That's where I've lived most of
So
my
you're
life.
one of the early people, at least, who really started
2012
getting
was
active
early?
online. I feel
No,
like
there were
for,
people who are online much longer.
but like active all through.
Yeah,
You
active
see.
since 2012. I've been really active, like a vibrant life, especially on Facebook. Twitter, I was on Twitter before Facebook, because I joined Facebook in 2008. Twitter must have been around, no, Twitter must have been 2010. And I can tell you, I have never been active on Twitter. But Facebook really did it for me, like,
Yeah.
because it has no limitations on how long your posts can be. You can express yourself in, I don't know, and because I'm so wordy in my posts, it
So it
made it easier
allows
for
you to
me.
just,
Yes.
yeah. Because
So
that's how you've even built your pages, the
yes.
Rogers Bites. I mean, you can tell. You
So
even talk about family and everything
uh-huh.
you're going through.
And in detail, like without the limitations.
Imagine coming home to a vacation each day, to a place of pure serenity, a place of pure luxury for you to entertain and unwind. At Jacana Heights, dreams come true. Take your pick from spacious 1, 2, or 3 bedroom apartments and luxurious 4-bedroom penthouses, built to international standards with fine, exceptional finishing. Located on Konge Hill, Buziga, with incredible views and a fresh breeze from the nearby Lake Victoria. It's a place for your body, soul, and mind, with a wide array of amenities. Contact us for more information. Jacana Heights, Luxury Hilltop Living.
James Onen shared a post I wrote.
Okay.
Uh,
What was it about?
it was about, the post was about the play in Watoto, Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames, from a non-believer's perspective.
Yes, because I do know you're an atheist, right?
Yes, yes.
It's funny how we came from the height of your spirituality and you wanted to
Yes.
be a minister
That's a long
to
story. I
where
don't
you
think we
are
have enough
now.
time.
Okay.
Allow me skip that one.
You'll give us something very brief.
Okay, let me first finish this bit. So that time I wrote a post, and then James Onen shared it, and then all of a sudden I was thrust in the limelight. Like people were looking for me on Facebook, people were sending me friendship requests.
Is
It
this
was strange.
because you're controversial?
No, I
Or they could
think
relate to.
when a celebrity shares your post and no one knows you, it's like everyone like, oh, who is this? Who is this? Who is this? So you'll come and look at all the other things you've been doing. And, oh, this person is worth following. So friendship requests came in. I'm like, oh, I think I need to write more. So it pushed me to keep writing more. But then I think that's around the time I stopped writing about religion and stuff because it's controversial and what.
Yeah.
So then I just went with the flow. Then along the way, I discovered a group that was really popular then called Urban Legends. They used to write humor. I used to love their humor because my thing was humor. Then I used to write humor. So so they spotted me. They took me up as a suburban, something like that. So I used to also write articles there. And then just like that, I went into New Vision. I met Bazanye, Anes Bazanye.
Honest.
So he used to feature me in, there was a column called Plan B then, 2012, I think. So I featured a few articles. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in newspapers. Like, man,
So I think we've come back to the root of the real passion is the writing.
Yes, the real passion is the writing. Was like that was the if you're to trace back to the beginning, that would be it. So, because that was my into print media. So, and then from there, because it was fun and it took up a lot of my time, but it was fun. I enjoyed doing it. It wasn't paying.
In the beginning,
Yeah.
because now you have a weekly column.
Yeah, but still it doesn't pay. Okay, it pays, but the money it pays is not money
Okay,
that
not
can.
that.
Yes. I'm grateful though. I'm not complaining because there are very many other fringe benefits that come with it. So at the time when I didn't even collect that money for Plan B because it was too little, like to go through the process of saying here, doing like me, I've featured in the newspaper. I mean, this is New Vision. I have made it.
I've arrived.
Yes.
I've arrived.
And because the beauty was I had a job that could meet my financial needs.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really about the money then. So I could put in the time, and it was a passion that kept me going. And I had no idea what these dots would connect to then.
So it allowed you to tap into your creative side.
Yes, definitely. I think that's the best way to put it. It allowed me to tap into my creative side that I didn't even know I had. So I just kept going like that. I kept writing and writing and writing. Then when Plan B stopped, that's when Monitor took me up, gave me first column I had for humor. Because that was not a personal column. I was just used to be featured. Then Monitor offered me a column, which I did for, I think, for a year. Until 14, 15 there, when I got really too busy and stopped being funny. So
That you grew up and stopped being funny?
yes, by the way, this is something that maybe people don't talk about much, but you can never underestimate the pressure that humorists have. Of every week you need to make people laugh.
It can't be easy.
No, it can't, because at some point, there's some people actually you will notice that they write really good humor, but that humor is maybe for a certain crowd, and majority will think like, man, I think this guy is telling his own jokes for himself alone. At some point, actually, the line can even get blurry, and you don't even know when you've crossed it, and you're just entertaining yourself, but not the audience that you intend to entertain. So you just keep going, and everyone just watches you floating about like a balloon. You're happy, you think you're doing something, but no one really catches your vibe. You're at your own wavelength. And so to maintain that while being humorous and maintaining the novelty without you copying jokes and stuff, and also trying to avoid offending, because the thing is with most humorists, you have to make fun of other, because the humorist has to make people laugh.
That is the really tricky place we are in the world today. I mean, if you look at Dave Chappelle and the drama, it's like, when can you go back to just being funny? Like, don't take everything so seriously. But
and because that is really tricky, because naturally as human beings, we're weird because we want to laugh at people. So the humorist's role is to identify someone you want them to laugh at, or a situation, then exaggerate it so people can, look at that, it's so funny, oh, that guy is an idiot.
So we want to laugh at people, but we don't want people to laugh at us.
So the trick I learned that kept me going, and has actually been helpful to me, was from a book I read. A guy called David Sedaris. It was called Me Talk Pretty Someday. That book opened my eyes to another perspective of being a humorist. Because people want to laugh at someone. And if you don't want to offend people, it's easier when you just identify, just make yourself the subject and make fun of yourself. So I've noticed, like, all the books I've read for David Sedaris, he just writes self-deprecating humor. And it's so, like, okay, I just loved I just tried to copy what he does. He writes self-deprecating humor, very simple, because I didn't have those sophisticated words and also the kind of English like that you read. And
you know who I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I mean,
something
that's
like
really
that.
his
Like
thing.
simple, like, trying to make jokes that people are going to first think of for like 30 minutes, like, oh, that was like simple and straightforward. So I tried to do something like that, and just self-deprecating humor. I thought it was better than trying to make tribal jokes about other people, or sex jokes, or fat jokes, or something like that. But find something relatable, and then make yourself that subject.
But you know what that is also? That's maturity as well.
And it saves you from a lot of things. Like you can easily win. You can easily win more hearts without creating enemies. The alternative is going to create enemies, either you want it or not. Some will take the joke, some may not take it lightly, some will resent you for a very long time.
They will take it personally.
Yes, they'll take it very, very personally, even when they shouldn't have. So if now, for example, like a person like me who runs a business,
Yes.
something I said in 2014 could actually lead to someone making sure in some office where they're looking for someone to do the catering for their services,
like, no, not that person.
not that guy. Like, why? No, not him. Just something you said about a certain tribe or what that everyone laughed at then, but
That's the thing, what they talk about when they talk about karma and
Yeah.
things coming full circle.
Yes.
You never really know.
so that's actually the reason why I don't talk much about religion and stuff, because it's very easy to offend someone. By the way, someone can even resent you without even being deliberate about it.
Yeah.
Like something just switches off in their mind about you. Like, oh, this person, okay. Then somehow they just switch off and they just put you in a certain shelf without being deliberate about it. But they just think like every time they think about you, that memory,
They see
that
you in
yes,
that. It sounds like you've actually been in some situations, like we have some debates and conversations
I have
where you saw the danger.
yes, I have actually 2 incidences. I hope you allow me not to talk about it. I'll pick on one. I have dogs. I have about 3 dogs. I give all my dogs Chiganda names because I'm a Muganda. And okay, people usually get shocked when they come and they find. I have a Maltese, really furry and what. So I called it Nachito because it looks like a sponge, which is a chito, muto in Luganda. So I called it Nachito for that reason.
Okay.
So everyone who has been following me for a very long time knows the process, how I give my dogs names. There's Nachito, there's Chirivari, then there is Siribaona.
How do you call these dogs?
Because those are names from my clan, Talaganya clan. So, but I just cut them short. Like Siribaona becomes Siri. Like
Okay.
Siri that.
I'm like, how do you call the dog? But
Yeah.
okay.
So Chirivari becomes Kiri. So those are
Okay.
Kiri and Siri.
Kiri and Siri.
Which would make it simple. So Nachito is easy, so I just got Nachito, so she knows. So everyone knows how I come to those names. And then I had this person called Nachito. So she didn't know how. We were not friends when I named the dog. Then she just finds out.
You have a dog with her name.
Yes, like I named my dog after her. Like, I don't know if you. So that's how she took it.
So that's what she thinks.
Like, you gave my name to a dog. She didn't tell me anything. She just felt so offended. She unfollowed me, blocked me, did so many things. Like, she told me this after. And even told, there's a time her family members were trying to order food from me. So, no, not that guy. I've heard some things about that guy's food. No. I have an alternative.
Wow.
Yes, like she really took it personally. Then later, like after like a year or 2, we met at some gathering. So
the whole time you didn't even know.
I had no idea. So we're talking. Then I don't know, she was icing. Like, what's up? Like, did you really have to do that? Like, do what? Like, oh my God, no. You can go and read my posts from the beginning. I named my dog long before I even knew you, and there is the rationale for it, like how it came about and everything. Like, it's because I live my life on Facebook, so anyone who follows me knows everything about me.
Okay, yes. That's a lot.
Like, really a lot. So it was always like, oh my God, I thought this was about me. Like, you don't know how personal I took this. And then I explained, like, oh, okay. So we're now cool. We are friends and all. But that and another incident that has something to do with religion brought to my attention the fact that some things you can't take lightly. And we feel about the way we feel things, and you don't know how deeply certain people feel about the things they
Yeah.
do.
True. True.
Because sometimes you touch on something that has haunted someone for a very long time. I'll give an example of how I became a colorism activist by a post written by the Kampala Sun. I'd never cared about, like, everyone else seemed to be okay with it. But then it just rubbed me a certain way that changed my life completely and made me devote my life to a certain cause of we need to have this conversation and we need to have it now, because people out there, like these jokes that you tell, you think it's just a joke, everyone is laughing about it and what, but you don't know how they affect people. So it later moved on, like we first started by having a really, really lengthy conversation about it on WhatsApp, where I have most of my conversations anyway lately with my followers and customers. Mostly, okay, actually it's mostly customers there. I don't have any followers there because for me to save your number, to see my status, you have to be a customer first.
Yes,
So we have discussions about different topics. And that's the day, like, my eyes and so many people's eyes were opened about the issue of colorism and how when you're not experiencing something, you don't think it's such a big deal.
Yeah, you don't pay attention.
So because
it
it's
doesn't
not,
affect you
yes,
personally.
it's not
right?
your hustle. Everyone has their own hustles. Everyone has their own insecurities.
Yeah.
It may be about their weight, maybe about their hair, maybe about their skin color, maybe about
Their height.
yes,
their-
height, what. So you deal with your problem. You can't deal with everyone's problems. So in doing that, we let so many things fly, and we normalize things that ordinarily we wouldn't. Sometimes because
What was it in that article that triggered
okay,
you?
it was they wrote something. They posted a picture of Salvador with now wife, then girlfriend. Because it's an old post, like, and then they said something like, "Who knew Salvador would have a light skinned girlfriend?" Like a picture of before. I was like, really? Do you know what this does to a dark skinned girl out there?
Yes.
When you say that, who knew? Like, okay, so this is the goal to aspire to. If you're light skinned, I mean, if you're dark skinned, like, you're doomed. Like, and the message is so subtle that it's very easy to miss it
Yeah.
until you dig deeper.
And someone really takes it to heart. Yeah.
Yes, because you don't know, it's something people don't talk about openly. And so I asked myself then, as a father to a dark skinned girl, and I thought, because before I could have ignored it because it doesn't really affect me anyway. So I thought to myself, what would my daughter feel when if she read this? Like, how did it impact her? And then she kept saying more of these. So when we talked about it, when we later had a conversation about it, about colorism in the kids, like, I was shocked how early it begins and how sometimes it's the parents who impact these insecurities
Yes.
in their kids. Sometimes not even know, most times not knowingly, because no parent goes out of their way to hurt their children purposely. But you hear of stories of a 6-year-old, I mean, a person telling me how their mother first gave them lightening cream when they were 6 years old. Like, you need to look like your sister. And honestly, they just try, because they know that in this world, when you look like that, things are going to be much harder for you. You'll have it softer in life if you look this way.
And
So-
it's in Asia, it's yeah.
Yes, like
Asia and Africa,
Asia-
it's so strong.
Nigeria, Congo, that's like in Africa, I think that's where it's
Yes,
worse.
Congo, thank you. And
Yeah.
in Nigeria, they use
Yeah.
makeup. Her face is my color, her hands are your color, and then
Yes.
and they actually ask for that, like
And I'll
3,
tell you,
4
like,
shades
the
lighter.
people who do it will tell you, this I'm doing for me. You do not know their struggle. You don't know what they've been through to get to that point.
Yeah,
So it's not
they have
something
their
you can.
reasons.
It's not something you can just overlook. And say, oh, well, what? Why don't you appreciate the way you are? Like, you've not lived their struggle. You don't know.
True.
And even this happens on the other side, like people who are really light skinned and how they're stereotyped, and people make assumptions and what. Like,
Yes.
when people talk about these things,
For
you
women,
get.
they assume that you're easy.
Uh-huh.
They assume
Like,
you only want money.
Yes,
you
you've
have
had
no
it
brain.
easy in life. You've not earned anything. Everything has just been handed to you. Like, whatever you do, you'll never get credited for. They will think, that one.
Yeah, it's a very important conversation.
So anyway, like I said, I speak too much. I don't even think we're still on track.
Activists, so that's fantastic. Very interesting. So when you had these conversations, how were they received though?
Well, at first, people do want to open up. Like for most things, like very sensitive. Most of these are because it's not just colorism. We talk about so many things. We talk about colorism. We talk about.
So you talk about a lot of uncomfortable things.
Yes. Like I start the conversation. Usually, I start on WhatsApp because on WhatsApp we have a community of people who don't know each other. But it's such a strong community.
They're very vocal.
Yes, very vocal and very open because they know that when I say this, my identity is not going to be tagged to my opinion, but I will have said my say. So, because like things they wouldn't say on their personal accounts, like marriage problems, sexual problems.
Oh, that?
Yes, and more, and a lot, a whole lot
My
more.
goodness.
So, because people have things they want to say, but they just don't have the environment where they can say them openly without being judged. So, that when it started like that in a community like that, so people started to notice that, oh, okay, so I'm not alone in this. Someone else has experienced it. When you saw someone has opened up, then it becomes easier for you to open up as well. Then another person, then before you know it, everyone is opening up. And everyone's like, what? So you mean I actually have a responsibility to make sure that my child does not become the bully? Because in most cases we assume that I need to train my child so they're not bullied, they need to stand up for themselves, so they're like opinionated, they don't. And then you forget that, okay,
You might push
perhaps
them
you
over.
may also need to be mindful about the possibility that your child who has not been well groomed because you didn't find a problem. Let's say you have a child who is who has maybe had it all in life or had it easy. So they go and they make reckless and honestly innocent statements to other children like, why don't you have a PS5?
Thank you. At my house, we have
Like,
this.
we
I
have
have that.
Yes.
Da,
Now
da,
the
da, da,
child
da.
who doesn't,
But I always feel like, by the time a child is pointing out those things, maybe they've also got that a little bit.
yes, sometimes
It's
they
been
have.
passed down to them where these material things are made a big deal of.
Yes, in most cases, but there are times when children make really innocent statements. They really don't know. They don't even mean to. I'll give you an example of something we're dealing with as early as last week. So my daughter. Okay, I have a maid called Joan. So my daughter makes like you know how like kids can learn to like join words and try to make things that sound funny, and so she likes to call her, or sometimes some people call her Joanita. So she likes to cut it short and say Joan Eater. Then she laughs. Like, oh, like, did you see what I did there? Like Joan Eater. To her it's funny and innocent, and it's actually funny. But the recipient, she always says, is she trying to allege that I eat too much?
I eat too much.
So she's uncomfortable. And she said, stop calling me that. Then my like, oh, she continues saying, oh, Joan Eater. First, it's funny. She doesn't know that this is interpreted in another way. So, and it's really, really innocent. It's not meant to come out a certain way. So it's one of those things where children, because they're not educated about certain things, because the parent has not felt a need to, so they'll go out and say, why are you so dark-skinned? Why don't you look like me? They're honestly just curious.
Yes,
They don't mean to bully but because the child has been seeing this from every place they've been to, like everyone
So
says
they've
the same
not been
thing.
exposed
TV,
to a lot more
yeah,
as well.
they've not been exposed, so they're just curious, they're just wondering. But to the recipient of this question, you're like, oh my God, all the toys I've been playing with, they don't look like me. Everything I see on TV doesn't look like the cartoons I watch, the books I read,
Yeah.
my neighbors, like, you understand? Maybe there's something wrong with me. And in the kids taunting them, they don't even mean to taunt, but they're just curious. Oh, they be like, oh, for you you're black, for you you're not. So it starts from such an
You
early
have to
age.
start having those
Yes.
conversations at a really early age.
Not just
to
with your child, just prepare them, but also for your kids so they don't do that. So that when they're
so they know
exposed,
people are different colors,
Yeah.
shapes, heights. I mean, Yes, you're right.
So conversations range from so many different things, and yeah, but this
I have a feeling you're
towards
going
the
to get
end,
very many requests to join that WhatsApp group after this. But I'm going to have to take you back
Yeah.
to your passion for, well, now take you to your passion for cooking, should
for
I say.
cooking.
When did that start? Because I know it started with meat.
Yes. Now for cooking came much earlier. I remember I stopped at a point where I was talking about where I stopped being funny. Because now writing had become a chore. It's not something I was doing because I enjoyed, but I felt like, oh my God, I need to make people laugh tomorrow. And then when it's forced, it shows, reflects in how you write and how it's received. So when I stopped being funny, they
Stop being
noticed.
funny.
They noticed, like, you know what, we can't renew your contract. I was like, oh, it's okay, I understand. So now I had nothing to do because ordinarily I'm not a very outgoing person. And while I may be very vocal online and what, that's not who I am. If you just met me from like as a stranger and what, like something that just I just tend to open up much later after I've got comfortable around someone. So I really didn't have much to do outside my work. I mean after work. So writing used to be that feeler for my. So I'd finish work, print out a recipe on my way out of office, go back and write a story or something. No. Before that, I had frozen recipes. So I'll just finish work, go and write a story. Finish something I started earlier, work on a blog post, do what, then write my article for the week, stuff like that. So when I stopped, I just lost even the mojo and gas for writing. Like, you
So
know
you
what?
felt like there was this huge gap
Yeah,
now.
there was a huge gap. So that huge gap gets filled by someone I was seeing then who used to love to cook.
Okay.
So we would leave work and she'd come and prepare something new and different, like beyond the ordinary food that I was used to. Like, okay, so I was intrigued. So it started with me taking pictures of her food and I post on Facebook.